Joining me now from Toronto is David Powell. He's co-founder of the Puppetmongers Theatre, internationally recognized as leaders and innovators in the field of puppetry. So David, is Chinese shadow puppetry an endangered art?
From what I hear, yes, as is the shadow puppetry in India and Turkey, and all the traditional forms of puppet theatre actually are pretty much having trouble at the moment, from what I hear.
We did see the story, but what do you think are some of the reasons behind this decline?
Well, of course, as you mentioned earlier, the competition with film and television and easy stay-at-home entertainments. But shadow puppetry translates really well to the screen, because it is a screen as for the shadows. So I think it works well as film and video.
We saw this story about Chinese shadow puppetry, and you mentioned some other countries, but how significant is this to China's cultural heritage?
Well, it goes way back into the misty past in China. I believe the origin story I've heard of was an emperor who was pining for a dead wife, and his minister made a shadow image that made him feel she was still around. That's a mythological start.
Describe the performers and those wanting to learn this art form, and what does it take to become a good performer?
Well, shadow puppetry actually is, I would say, the most precise of the forms of puppetry. You really need a very precise control because everything shows on the screen. So it's really focus, and very much also of caring enough to make the puppets truly seem to be alive. I spent 3 months in Indonesia looking at shadow puppetry, and I would say I saw one puppeteer whose puppets were alive, and he was the most famous one in the country. Others were using the puppets to tell a story, and it was sort of like they were holding pace or images while they told a story that sounded beautiful with the music and everything. So I think it's really very much of focusing on the puppets and making them live.
What do you think the industry can do to attract bigger audiences and more performers? And if you can describe the audience, who's coming to watch these performances?
Well, with our shows, we've been running a show in December at a theatre for the last 20-odd years. And we get parents coming, they come with their children. Now we get their children coming saying, hey, I'm here, I came with my parents, here are my kids. So it's ongoing of people who have found it and love it.
And is there anything that you think can be done to get more people interested in doing this as an art form and passing it down to the next generation?
I think the best thing is for people to see people who really are doing it beautifully, doing a wonderful thing, and it makes people excited. In Toronto here, we run a school of puppetry, and we get students come from all over the world to come and study and work with us. So that's a big thing, is just really loving what you're doing, and people will come.
David Powell, great advice. Thank you for joining us from Toronto.
Thank you.